Hello everyone, welcome back. You may be wondering, what am I doing in front of this popcorn machine? Now, there are several methods to roast your coffee at home. The first method is to use a cast iron skillet. Many people are successful using that, and it's quick and fairly easy. If you have a cast iron at home, you could roast your own coffee beans. But there are several issues related to that, which I'll explain later. Another method is to use a hot air popcorn popper, which is more like a cylinder type and which has a spout to throw out the popcorns. Now, that hot air popcorn works more effectively, but the disadvantage is you cannot roast more than half a cup of beans, maybe less than 3 ounce or 4 ounce maximum, not more than that. Now, there are dedicated coffee roasters that are on sale in Amazon, something like this, which has a control arm in the middle which rotates, and they sell it as coffee roasters. Now, if that is the case, then can I use a popcorn maker which is much cheaper? Can I use it to roast coffee? Now, other coffee roasters with that control arm, which is listed for 150 to 200 Canadian dollar range, that is expensive. Now, if you look at the popcorn, which is the dome style maker, these are much cheaper. You should be able to get roughly between $30 to $40. Now, the question is, can I use this to roast coffee? Now, I checked the rating. If in case you're wondering how many watts it is 1000 watts. I was hoping this will be 1200 or 1500, because some of those small popcorn makers, those poppers, hot air poppers, are 1200 to 1500 watts, which is more powerful than this. But the good thing about this is you have more space. You could roast more beans, and it has a control arm to move the beans around. Now, this is meant for popcorns. That is, if you look at the control arm, I'll give you a close-up. Now, this type of popcorn maker, it comes with a control arm, which is this, and this will rotate and move the beans around. Now, the disadvantage is there is a gap. If you notice, there is a gap. This has lesser than here, but again, this is meant to make popcorns, so popcorn beans will be moving around without any problem. But with coffee beans, it can get stuck, and because of the weight of the coffee beans, what it does is it will push the whole beans around without overturning the beans efficiently. Now, we are going to test it, because I did some test run, and those are the things that I noticed. Now, there are a few things that you can keep in mind to fix that, which I'll explain soon. Now, another disadvantage of using popcorn maker is because of this is plastic. You could open this, and this is a plastic which is not recommended for very high heat. So this could melt. If you can get a replacement nut, or if you can change the whole thing, which some people do, that is more efficient, and that will save you from melting this plastic. Now, these are food grade plastic, which is okay to use for popcorn, but not for coffee roasting, because there will be very high heat. Now, I'm going to switch on this, then I'll put some beans and show you how the control arm rotates, and then I'll explain further. So here I have some beans. Okay, I'm not going to overload it, and I'm going to switch on. Let's see how the arms will rotate. So here's the switch. Now, if you notice, it's just moving the whole beans around. It's not really overturning the beans, which is more efficient. If it overturns, that will be more efficient, but it's not doing that. Now I'm going to add some more beans, and let's see whether we can get that overflow of the beans. Okay, in this case I can see the beans getting overflowed, which is a good sign. This is something that we really wanted. And I still see there's some gap, so I'm going to fill some more beans and see. Okay, I don't want to overload it and make the control arm stop working, but now in this case I see the beans are moving more efficiently, it's turning. But if you notice closely, there are one or two beans that are stuck right there. Okay, let me zoom it and show you. Just around here, there's a bean stuck there. Even there, that's not moving at all. So you could get burned bean, and it's almost touching the plastic, which I don't like. But otherwise it's moving the beans around. If you look here, it's really moving the beans around, which is a good sign. So I'm going to measure this quantity and see. I think this is roughly the quantity where we should use in this kind of machine, I guess. So I'm going to quickly weigh this beans. Let me switch off. I'm going to weigh this beans, and I'll put the same amount of green beans. And then we'll do our test and see whether it will really roast our beans or not. Now that I found the quantity of the beans that are needed in this, I'm going to measure it. Let me tear it. Okay. Now I lost few beans here and there, but I'm not really worried. But it's showing 150 grams. So I could do 150 grams in one go. That's how I get the guided amount for this particular machine, so that the control arm moves the beans around efficiently. So I'm going to take 150 grams of green beans, and we'll see whether how efficiently we can roast in this kind of popcorn maker. Now, like I mentioned, after cleaning up, I see the number of beans stuck here in the arm, and there is one underneath. So those beans are going to get burned, and you need to hand pick and throw it away if you find. Also, before I roast, I must mention about the cover. Now this cover is meant to take a limited amount of heat, not too much of heat, because this is again plastic, and this is meant for popcorn making. But I cannot roast by just taking out the cover. It will mix with the outside air temperature, and it's not going to roast efficiently. So you need to cover it with something, or else you may not even hear the first crack. That's one mistake many do. They just roast it openly like this. So here, thankfully I have a cover or a lid which is of more or less the size of this popcorn maker. So it fits in perfectly with a hole here for the smoke to escape. Now this will ensure that the temperature will rise up, and it will roast the beans more efficiently than doing it with an open lid. So here's my green beans, and We are going to target 150 grams as we have tested. Okay, exactly 150 grams, and we are going to use this to roast. So here's my 150 grams. Now I have to warn you that if you want a dark roast, this machine is not for you, because it may not go up to second crack. That's what I guess, but I may be wrong. But this machine will be efficient for a medium roast. So let's begin. Okay, let me bring my timer. So here I have my timer, which will show me the time, and let's begin. Ready, steady, go. Now I could see that it's overturning the beans here because it's overflowing, which is a good sign. And for the sake of this video, I won't be closing the lid for so long, but I'll try as much as possible, so my numbers may be longer. It may take longer, but let's see. I'm pretty sure you can see the beans even with the lid, unless it starts smoking up. So I'll leave it running, or I'll do some fast forward if it takes long. So enjoy. It is already smoking, which is normal. Also remember that this popcorn machine is not meant to run for a very long time, more than 15 minutes, because popcorn takes less than 5 minutes to make it. So I'm hoping I won't burn my machine. Let's see. I'll take the risk for you guys. Okay, most of the time I see the beans are not getting moved, especially in this area. So only one side will be roasted. Okay, that's a good sign. So it decided to move the other way. Maybe the beans got stuck, or that's how it operates. I never noticed going zigzag while doing the popcorn. Okay, as you see, some of the beans are getting roasted well. It's turning to yellow phase. And some are still green. So it's 3 minutes mark. I'll quickly open and show you guys. 3 minutes, this is how it looks like. Some beans are brown, some are still green. Now also in this method of roasting coffee beans, the chaff will be inside. It's not gonna fly anywhere. So when you cool down the beans, you'll have to fan them away or do some other method. There are only very few beans movement. Maybe it needs more beans, I'm guessing. Okay, one thing I notice is the water droplets are flowing back to the surface area. That's why it is making that noise. Maybe I should wipe the inner side of the lid. We are almost 5.5 minutes, almost reaching 6 minutes mark. Okay, so I'll open and show you at 6 minutes. Now I notice that the beans are lighter now, because as it roasts it will be lighter and it will move more efficiently. Now you can quickly check now, and I'll wipe this. See, as you see, the beans are yellow stage now. Okay, the lid goes back after wiping. So I'm more happy to see this type of movement where the beans are really moving and turning around, which is a good sign. We have almost reached 9 minutes mark, and I see a lot of chaff, so that means the coffee beans are dry and it's roasting well but slow. I'll be happy if it can roast in 30 minutes or less, because this is not meant for high-speed roasting anyway. Usually the dedicated coffee roaster that has a control arm like this, that takes 30 minutes. So I'll be happy if this can be done in 30 minutes without my machine getting and I can hear the sensor kicking in. It switches off and on. Okay, the surface of the popcorn maker is really hot. It's 10 minutes mark. So always remember, you have to be near the machine when you're roasting. Now this is really hot, hotter than I thought. Maybe I should leave it open a bit. It's really getting hot. It's 11 minutes mark. And it's slowly going to the brown stage. Okay, it is 13 minutes now, and this is how it looks. And I'll leave it open for some time so that you guys can see. Also, it may reduce the temperature a bit because it's really overheating the body. That's the sound of the sensor kicking in. And soon we should be hearing the first crack towards 15 minutes. That's what I'm guessing just by looking at the color of the beans. So let's leave it closed for some more time. Because of the sound of the arm and the beans, you may not hear the cracking sound, but I'll confirm if I hear. Okay, it's 16 minutes now. Almost 17 minutes. Let's see. I still don't hear the first. Okay, I heard the first crack, surprisingly. That's 18 minutes exactly. It could be that one of the bean that was stuck somewhere there, which got roasted evenly. And 18th minute, I heard the first crack. I think my machine is really hot. I feel like it's about to melt. So I'll go up to 20 minutes or maybe 20. Minutes now. We'll go some more. We'll go a few more minutes and we'll go up to 25 minutes hopefully. And minutes. Just trying to measure the temperature. Maybe this is a better way. Shows 200 and so right now it's showing 270 degrees and 26 minutes now. Okay, it stopped at 293. That's the maximum I've seen. Okay, it went to 296. Good, that's 300. Okay, went back to 298. So it's somewhere around 300. That's the maximum we are getting. Okay, that makes sense. It needs more temperature, around 450 degrees. That would be better. So it's switching between 300 to 99. Okay, 27 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna stop in 2 minutes. It's 28, 29 minutes almost. And it wouldn't go more than 3. Okay, looks like it's slightly roasted now. And 30 minutes, I'm gonna switch off right at 30. And then I'm gonna quickly use the colander to cool it down, and then we'll check the beans. Okay, 30 minutes, stop. Okay, so without wasting time, let's transfer this to the colander. And it's really hot. I'm gonna go outside and quickly cool it down, then I'll come back. Here I'm back. Now my beans are cold and this is what I got. Now have a closer look. Now these beans are very lightly roasted. I don't think it has gone through the first crack. Maybe very few beans have gone through it, but not all of them. And it shows that distinctive brownish yellowish color. So this is what you get from the popcorn maker after 30 minutes. Now I could have run it longer than this, but I'll be risking my machine and something could melt inside the machine. I'm worried about that. So I had to stop after 30 minutes because those are not designed to take a lot of temperature for a longer time. And as you have seen, it has gone up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's all you get from that temperature. To roast the beans, it should go through 450 degrees at least to get the first crack. And so let's conclude. Now the question is, do I recommend this popcorn maker to roast coffee beans? The answer is no, it's not recommended. Now mainly because of its design and the restriction the factory has provided. Like I've measured the temperature and you saw 300 degrees Fahrenheit, it won't go beyond that. If it goes, the sensor will sense that and switch off the machine for a while and then resume. So you get around 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not good to roast a coffee bean. Also the design of the arm, that's not good enough. It's not moving the beans properly, so you may not get the uniform roast. Another drawback is the plastic here. Though this is food grade quality, it cannot withstand a lot of heat. It is not recommended to use that unless you modify it. Now I've seen some people modify this type of popcorn maker. First thing is they take out this plastic thing and replace with a steel bolt. The other thing they do is they switch off the heating element so that only the arm rotates. And then they buy a portable air fryer oven that is just the lid that comes, and put on top of this with some spacer. You need a spacer or else it will be too close to the beans and it will just burn everything. So some people modify with the spacer and the air fryer lid, the oven lid on top, which will generate the heat from the top with the fan, with the hot air, which will uniformly roast the beans properly, because even the control arm is rotating, and they modify this bolt to a steel one. And they are successful with that, and they get uniform roast and they are happy with their coffee beans. Now that's one solution if you want to modify that. The other option is to disable the heat sensor, which is on this metal element, which is on this metal plate underneath the body. You have to open the machine and disconnect from the body and keep it away, or just cut both ends and shorten it. So that will ensure that the heat won't stop at 300 degree, it will just keep on generating. Now the risk is you have to be close to the machine and monitor and make sure the body is not getting melted, because this is not designed for high heat. It's plastic body, it's gonna melt, or something inside may melt, so that's another risk. So to conclude, I wouldn't recommend to use this. Even for light roast, it's not efficient, but for testing purpose you could try, nothing wrong with that, but make sure you're close to the machine and do it at your own risk. It didn't generate much smoke because of the low temperature. Next, I'm going to use the other popcorn popper, which is the hot air popcorn popper, which is smaller than this, and we are gonna test using that, and we'll see whether that option is efficient or not. So stay tuned guys. If you are new to my channel, please make sure you subscribe. I would really appreciate that, so that I can produce more videos like this. So if you like this video, please hit that like button. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm, whatever. So please make sure you like this, and see you guys next time. I'll be posting next video on the popcorn popper. Make sure you watch that. It's really simple to roast coffee at home. So see you next time. Bye for now.